up for J Friday. Hey, 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 hey.
I love you so much. Thank you, Trinity. I appreciate your entire existence. You everything. Yes. Hey, hi, hello. As Louis just introduced me, I am Jay Friday. My Instagram is TJIF_artistry. It stands for This John is Friday. So it's March, it's Women's History Month, so I did a little digging on my family tree. And this piece is called The Matriarchy, Her Story. I decided to skip 23andMe. I didn't want to wait for Ancestry.com either. Why is it that we only talk about family history in doctor's offices? I traced the branches of my family back to its roots, so I got a story to tell. Y'all heard me when I said my family had 12 tribes. I come from the youngest of the 12, Laura Ann. Her parents, Charlie and Mary Harrison Freeman, were slaves. She was born in South Carolina in 1892. A devoted wife and churchgoer, not only could she read and write, but she taught others. Only time we get together is for funerals and picnics. She and her sister Alma decided that family should see family without grief. The first Freeman family reunion was held in Washington, D.C. at Rock Creek Park the first Sunday in August 1961. Laura Ann went on to give birth to 6 children. Lucille, my great-grandmother, was one of them. She may have been born in Buffalo, New York in 1927, but Nana grew up down south. Escaping the blatant racism of the South, she and her husband migrated to Philadelphia in 1944. My grandmother, Brenda, was born here in 1948. My Nana was a housekeeper and a nanny for Jewish rich families. She took my grandmother with her once she was old enough. My grandmother started working when she was 12 years old. It took her going to 5 different elementary schools to finish 5th and 6th grade. Only one teacher believed in her, and she remembers that to this day. My grandmother and the first 4 of her 11 siblings were in foster care. Nana worked hard to reunite her children despite the obstacles in her way. My grandmother dropped out of high school in 10th grade. Becoming a live-in nanny, she worked 5 days a week for $8. Once she turned 18, she had to get her birth certificate from City Hall so she could work. John Wanamaker's had a tea room. Black women were not allowed to be waitresses, so she bussed tables. In 1965, she gave birth to Zelda, my mother, the middle child and only girl to take care of her 3 children. My grandmother even worked factory jobs in the 1970s. Surviving with no child support, she encouraged her children to get an education. It took her until her 30s, but my grandmother did get her GED. Even though she was in her 60s, she went on to be the only one of her siblings to go to college. My mom grew up around 27th and Allegheny when the neighborhood was still the neighborhood. The Tasty Cake Factory provided jobs in the community. My grandmother passed on that hustler mentality, so my mom also started working when she was 12. She graduated high school when she was 16, married at 21, with her first child at 23. She decided that working at Denise's Bakery wasn't enough. My mom wanted to be a pediatrician, but she didn't go to college. Instead, she became a classroom aide and a teacher's assistant from 1996 to 2006. In 1998, I was born. By this time, the matriarchy was already well established. My cousins, both older and younger, are doing phenomenal things. We are breaking generational curses. With each generation, the matriarchy only grows. I have learned that women are powerful without having to have men by their side. I'm learning that my back does not have to bend to protect a man's pride. Instead of chasing men, we chase dreams. Always running after success, fixated on our futures, we don't linger on past mistakes. No matter if they are those of our elders or our own, you will never catch us down for long. Ambition cradles the fall of the fruitage from this family tree. We love hard and fight to protect our own even harder. Family history is something that we shouldn't wait till doctor's offices to talk about. So, starting this day, I'ma tell her story. I'ma tell her story. I'ma tell her story until my dying breath. I will tell her story. I will tell my story. Thank y'all.
I'm going back to the south. I'm going back, 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 back.